as you can feel if you've stepped outside, Georgia's facing a deep freeze. However, operations are getting back to normal in many parts of our state. We know a lot of school districts are planning operations as normal tomorrow, including Fulton and Henry counties. We have a full list on our website where we're tracking the latest effects. But I want to take you to a county where things are most definitely not normal. We know many of our neighbors in White County have been facing darkness, considering the fact that part of the power grid was strained under this ice storm. Our Tara Jabor is out in White County getting us the latest update. Tara, great to see you. I understand that a third of people in the county lost power. Can you give us an update as to what crews are looking at and where things stand?
Absolutely. We are here on Duncan Bridge Road, and as you can see, there are down power lines right here on this road. Now, we're told that there's down power lines and down trees all the way down this road, and we did just see a few utility crews and tree companies come down here to start doing more work on this road. Now, if we look down a little bit, you can see these trees. Clearly, someone already came through here and cut some of these trees to move them out of the way from the road, but as you can see, there is another down pole from a power line. So a lot of people in this area don't have power right now. Of course, I checked Habersham EMC. They serve majority of White County. I checked their website about an hour ago, and they said that about 7,500 people are without power right now in White County. Now, we just got done talking to emergency officials here, and they were painting a picture for us about what the last 48 hours have been. What they told me was that Saturday, starting at around 8 o'clock, they got about a half an inch of ice, and that's really what started to cause all of the problems here. And all of the emergency personnel in this area have been working nonstop since then. They told me that the dispatchers, they were there for 48 hours at their 911 center, and that just now some of them are being relieved by the 20% of dispatchers that had a little bit of a break. Obviously, White County Sheriff's Office, the police departments here, the firefighters, they've all been working nonstop. And the National Guard is also here. So they have 3 groups of National Guard that are here working, helping. The EMA, the head of the EMA here, he told me that he's so relieved that the National Guard is here. He also told us that the state has really stepped up to help them a lot. He says that they've heard from the governor and that they've heard from GEMA to help them with this effort right now. So again, if we're taking a look at Duncan Bridge Road, as you can see, there are down power lines. There are also trees that are down. So you know, you can clearly see that there is a lot of work that needs to be done in this county, and they are doing the work, and they've been working nonstop. Now, Don Strength, the Division Chief of Emergency Services in White County, he wanted me to say that basically if you live here in the county and you're calling 911 to say that your power's out, he's asking people not to do that because, of course, they've just been overwhelmed with calls and they need to prioritize things. He said if you don't have power right now, to report that to your power company, and then they will be the ones who will be able to handle that. Of course, emergency officials here, they are helping the utility companies try to restore this power, but they are not the main entity behind restoring your power. So they are also asking people to stay off the roads. He said that people really in White County have done an amazing job at, you know, staying off the roads and allowing the crews to clean the roads here. The roads are pretty much clean. As you can see behind me, there's not any ice, there's not any black ice, and when I was driving in here from Gainesville, there was no ice. The roads were clear. So he said he's thankful that people have been listening and that they have been staying off the roads here, and he's just asking people to continue to do that until at least Wednesday so that they can do this cleanup effort and things can start to get a little bit back to normal. He said that's definitely his goal.
You know, Tara, it is so good to hear this update and to learn a little bit more about how conditions are faring, especially considering you see the National Guard coming in and resources getting to where they need to go. We had such a good lead time on this storm that I think a lot of people got the message to stay off the roads. So it's encouraging to hear that they have the space to work and things are doing well. You may have mentioned this, and if you did, I'd just like to visit it again or discuss it again. Have you heard about warming centers there in White County? If someone doesn't have electricity and they're really cold and they're looking for a place to get warm, do you know of any areas where they can go?
Yes, so they do have one warming center here, and it's not far from the 911 center. I would say that that's probably about 6 miles from where I am now. But what's interesting that I heard from Don Strength, the head of the emergency services here, he told me that they've only have 4 people at the warming center right now, but he expects for that to pick up a lot because it's now been over 24 hours for people that haven't had power. And he said the reason why the numbers are so low right now at the warming center is because neighbors take care of neighbors in White County. And he said that people are constantly, stepping up to help their neighbor if they have a generator or something like that, allowing people to come into your home to stay warm. However, he did say he thinks that that number will increase dramatically. He also told us that there have been nonprofits coming from Georgia, coming from South Carolina, that have been showing up at the 911 center, and they're just asking, what can I do to help? And he said that those people have now been helping pick up people who may not be able to get out of their house or they don't have a ride, and they're able to pick people up and bring them to a warming center or bring them wherever they need to go. So there's all kinds of people that are really coming together to help here. Of course, the National Guard, the emergency officials here, there's nonprofits. So it seems like a lot of people are stepping up to help each other.
Tara, wonderful update.
And
Thank you so much. Oh, yeah, go ahead. I can see something's happening.
Traffic jam.
Yeah, right now we have a little bit of a traffic backup here. It seems like people are trying to come down this road, and the sheriff's office is telling them to turn around. So we can see these trucks backing up. Let me just move out of the way a little bit here.
Yeah, you can see the trees are making it not an ideal situation.
Right, and we're told that the more you go down this road, the more trees are down. And I also want to mention that they told us that there, out of every single road here in White County, there's at least one tree down. He told me he doesn't know of one road that doesn't have a tree down.
Wow.
So the down trees are literally everywhere in this county. And I'm sure for people that have to drive around because of work or what have you, I'm sure they're looking for different ways to get to their destination, because even when we were driving in from Gainesville, we had to turn around at one point because they had a part of a county road closed off going into Helen, like 5 miles outside of Helen, and they had to close down that road because of down trees and down power lines. So they've just had to shut down some parts of roads right now because they're trying to obviously cut down these trees, clear off these roads, fix these utility lines. You can see it's down almost in the middle of the road. And, you don't want anyone driving over those utility lines. That can be extremely dangerous. I mean, if we look up with this utility line, it's still connected to this pole over here.
Yeah, I see.
Half of the line is coming down onto the road. So hopefully, you hope that no one drives quickly on these utility lines, on these down lines, because you don't want it to pull down anything else. So that's why they're really asking people to stay home, because that can create a very dangerous situation.
Tara, thank you so much for this update, giving us a look at what is happening there in White County. Definitely hope neighbors, people living in the area stay safe and are able to continue looking after one another. So Tara, I know we're going to check back in with you at 3 o'clock and see how conditions are faring. But I so appreciate your time and giving us a live look from the ground there. So thanks, Tara.